Silent Mike is gramming.
I'm doing a double post. That's hard.
Ooh,
We're doing my post, Mark's post. I'll fucking run.
He's trying to blow up Jesse Norris so that more people know about this guy that lifts lots of weights that not that many people know about for some reason. Even though he's been lifting lots of weights for a long time. Picking up heavy stuff.
Yeah, when did you start lifting?
It got serious when I was 14. Started lifting.
So as soon as you started seeing some pubes coming in,
I was going to say,
I better
not
hit
a
the
single
gym.
chest hair.
I
You're
better,
benching 315.
My testosterone's starting to raise. I better get in the gym, yeah.
Better get some sweatpants to start bench pressing with this boner. Press the ladies.
That's really what I did. That's all I did was bench press.
That's kind of how it worked out. You started with bench pressing?
I did. Yeah, a lot of bench press. Some. It's mostly for football.
Did you train in like a commercial gym or like what was kind of the first gym experience that you had?
Say when I actually started lifting, we actually had just gotten free weights at my middle school from the high school donated weights to the middle school. So 8th grade, I had started lifting basically to get better for football. So
cool. And you mentioned that your uncle had a gym or something like that too?
Yeah, my uncle owns Genesis Fitness, and I never really trained there too often.
Right.
But it was always kind of in the background of the family. Like
There's
lifting.
some strength training around.
Yeah.
Was your dad into it at all, or older brothers?
My older brother was into it, and that kind of pushed me to get into it. My mom always talked a lot about my dad being strong when he was younger, and he'd always arm wrestle us when we were kids and
smash
us.
Kick your ass.
Yeah, but not anymore.
You said you were lifting for football. Were you like not that good at football, and so you needed to get big because you're not a huge person. You're like 200 pounds or so.
Yeah.
You're kind of tiny, like Silent Mike.
Yeah, I'm not that big, right?
5'7", 5'8", 5'9"?
5'9".
But I imagine like when you were playing football and you're 14 or something, 15 or whatever, you're probably a lot smaller, right?
Yeah, I was probably $150, $160 back when I was playing
Put
football.
me in, coach. He's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Suck.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, no, I never started my 8th grade year, so I mean that was a big motivator. Like, I'd really like to be on the starting team. So I just trained a lot in the weight room and I was never stronger than anyone else. I was just average guy.
Yeah. So you weren't just killing people in the weight room?
No, but by the end of the year, it's like I dedicated myself in the gym where no one else did. So I ended up setting, the school records.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, I just started right where
So
everyone
you
else was.
started out the school year kind of the scrawny kid that's not playing football.
Yeah.
You took a bag of steroids.
Pretty much.
A bag of steroids?
The coach gave you a bag of steroids. And then you're the most jacked, handsome guy on the team. Got the cheerleader, and you're the captain of the football team.
Yeah,
Rode off into the sunset with 800-pound deadlift.
Next year, defensive captain, man.
There we go.
Yeah.
What position did you play?
Middle linebacker and fullback.
Mike played the 69 position. You've heard of that one?
You guys don't know?
Show me.
Kind of a
I'll
you guys
play.
want to show me?
Yeah.
well,
That'll be like a 6'9" with the three of us. It could get weird.
Yeah,
But
that's
fun.
like an area code.
It is. 6'6".
I don't even know where that is.
I'm sure it's somewhere. Did you? So you said you started benching. When did you actually start like quote unquote powerlifting? When did you start squatting and deadlifting?
So, I squatted and deadlifted that year. I just never really trained too hard at those two lifts. Freshman year, after the football season, after I'd gotten a concussion and was out, I met my coach, Steve Rayborn, and he was the powerlifting coach. We had a powerlifting team in high school.
How many high schools do you think in the nation have a powerlifting team?
Not many.
Yeah, 5?
Yeah.
Maybe more?
Well, there's more than that. I went to high school nationals. There's quite a few teams,
really?
but
I didn't see. I have no none of that.
Yeah.
Like you squatting and deadlifting at like age 13 is kind of similar to Mark. I think that's like a huge advantage.
Young,
but no one else does that.
Yeah. So I actually started powerlifting basically when I was 14, 15. Learned a lot about technique. As the big thing when I started was technique. And then it just all kind of grew from there.
You're pretty good at it right away? Within the first couple months or year or so?
My state meet, I took second, and that just kind of put pressure on me to keep going. I wanted to be better or the best.
Was that your own pressure, or was your coach like, hey man, you're pretty good at this? You can take this to a whole other level.
It was my own goal, really.
Yeah.
So I guess my family's strong. They do very well in strength realm, so I set my own goal and decided that's what I wanted to do.
You remember some of your numbers? Like what was like your deadlift? Your best deadlift now is what, 825?
Yeah.
What was your best deadlift maybe when you were 16?
16, deadlifted right around 6.
And then how about like 17 or 18?
Jesus.
At 17 it was around 660. And then 17, 18, it was up at around 7.
Yeah, so already well above the average of a grown-ass man.
Yeah.
Was when you were doing those kind of lifts, was it, did it mean a whole lot to you, or is it just kind of part of the process? You're getting stronger. You didn't really realize like how much better you are than like even seasoned veteran powerlifters have been around for a long time?
Yeah.
Did you not really have a concept of it, and that's how it just sort of morphed into?
Yeah, I never really had a concept of, where I was at in the strength world. It was just, these are my goals. I never followed anyone.
Right.
You didn't watch supertraining.tv? That's fucking rude.
Yeah, not back in the day. I knew I was good.
Yeah.
But I didn't think I was the best or better than anyone else. So
When's the first time you figured something like that out? Like you saw a YouTube or a magazine or something, they're like, oh, this guy's the best deadlifter in the world, and he pulls 7. And you're like, wait, like I pull 750 for reps. How does this work out? Did something like that ever happen?
The first time I really noticed any recognition was when my state meet, when I totaled 1850 raw at 198.
Yeah.
That's when it kind of all blew up. And
how old were you then?
Yeah.
It's 20.
Yeah, I think that's probably when I first heard of you.
So how long was that? 2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
And then you had a geared powerlifting background before that, right?
Yeah, all of my high school career I was single play in the IPF.
Cheating.
Well, and they're also though at that time it's kind of important to mention there really wasn't, at least from what I remember, there wasn't even a raw category quite yet. Like it wasn't all that popular or even created.
No,
I don't even think the IPF had a raw category, did they? I don't think they did. I don't think they may even recognize it.
But it wasn't big.
It wasn't
single
a thing.
ply was kind of the thing.
Yeah, single ply when I was doing it was the thing to do.
Yeah.
And then what kind of numbers did you hit single ply? Do you remember some of those?
My best numbers single ply, I was 181. I hit a 727 squat, a 487 bench, and a 702 or 707 deadlift.
So for those of you people out there that don't know too much about powerlifting gear, the kind of gear that he's wearing or was wearing, especially specifically in the IPF with all the different rules that they have, the different standards they have for still walking out your squats and so on. His squat suit along with his knee wraps probably giving you 100, maybe 150 pounds.
Yeah.
Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
And then a deadlift suit is really not doing a ton
5
for
pounds?
you. It might give you 20 to 50 depending on the person.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Bench shirt is probably assisting him by 80 to 100 pounds maybe.
I didn't get that much out of my bench shirt.
So
I think I got like 30 maybe.
So you're benching 450 or 440 and you benched 490 with the bench shirt on, something like that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So it just gives you guys an idea out there, like just because somebody's lifting in gear, as he did as a young kid, it doesn't doesn't negate the fact that he did a ton of lifting. He still built a lot of that strength, and that strength is still carried over into who he is and what he does today with an 825 deadlift, a 4 what bench?
440 is my best bench, and a 750 squat.
In sleeves.
So I mean, those are some pretty crazy numbers. I think a lot of times people get confused by the gear, and they get get kind of caught up in all the different rules and everything.
Even now, I think people get caught up or confused with knee wraps and knee sleeves. Like sleeves, you can argue give you 20 pounds at the absolute max.
Right.
Where wraps, maybe some guys are getting 100 pounds out of at the highest level or at a different
maybe
situations.
Depending on how tight they wear and how long they are.
When did you decide to go raw, and how did your training kind of switch from there? Like maybe what age?
Well, I started at bodybuilding.com at 19.
You work for them, yeah?
I work for them still now. Yeah. I got in an accident and just started eating crap. A lot of, well, not crap, but a lot of meat. I gained some weight.
He says crap. He's eating like filet mignons all night.
I ate a lot of steak. I ate a lot of like burritos and whatever. Just working nights. It was kind of hard.
You mentioned you had some concussions when you played football.
Yeah.
And then you got into a motorcycle accident?
Yeah, I got a motorcycle accident. I got a brain injury is what they called it. And so I was out of it for months and still trained.
Yeah.
But
you talk really slow because you're from Idaho or because of the brain injuries?
Probably both. Idaho's very relaxed, I feel like, so that's just kind of how I am.
Did you get any other injuries or made it out pretty okay, I guess?
Yeah, I just hit my head and knocked unconscious.
No broken bones or anything. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. My uncle says because I deadlift so much.
Yeah.
What's with some of the tattoos? You got like a Bible thing on there, and what's the meaning of some of this stuff? Is just for fun?
I heart Mark Smelly Bell. That's a little weird, but explain that one.
So I mean, this cross with Philippines 413.
Right.
That's just, I believe in God.
Just kind of show the camera a little bit.
Yeah.
Everything
Were you raised religious?
I was raised Christian, and I'm not like, I don't go to church every week or anything like that, but I do believe in God. This was my first tattoo. It's got 2 wolves and a moon. Got that when I was 15.
Is that a Boise thing also?
No, this is more of a brotherhood thing.
Oh, cool.
Between me and my brother.
Yeah, do you get a similar tattoo?
No, it was just me.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
cool though.
just kind of my own meaning.
Yeah.
Right.
Then this guy, this is a warrior inside of a serpent. It's kind of like things trying to bring you down, and you obviously got to fight your way out of it.
Was there? I saw some sort of a quote that you had. I think it's still on your Facebook page.
Yeah.
Do you know the quote that I'm talking about?
Is it the banner you're thinking
I think
of?
so.
There's a couple. There's a "What do I fear" quote, and then there's more of a, I don't know the quote exactly.
Right.
But that's the idea, is just being relentless, not settling for average, and continuing through the struggles of life and stuff like that. So
is that what drives you to not only do an 825 deadlift, but progress from there?
Right. I mean, I keep pushing myself. I think a lot of people are so small-minded. It's like I just try to open up.
What do you mean by small-minded?
I mean,
I understand you're not saying it as a knock on people.
Yeah.
You're saying in general,
it's,
people are.
It's hard to think that a guy like me, going into the whole steroid thing, couldn't do that without taking some kind of performance enhancers.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sit here and say I'm natural, but regardless,
Right.
I would like to show people that it is possible to train without performance-enhancing drugs and be successful.
You think people put their own ceilings on themselves?
Yeah.
200-pound guys only deadlift 650.
Yeah.
And then what do they all do? They all deadlift 650.
Yeah, they put their own limits out there. So
we were talking about putting limitations on things, and we're talking about what is possible for somebody to do without drugs. And I think it's a great topic because everyone's mind is so trapped around that. I've been in a film where I talked openly about it, and I still, when I make a post somewhere, somebody will be like, roids, and it's like, well, come at me with whatever you got, because I've talked about it openly before.
Yeah.
And I don't really care about talking about it, but I think it's cool when, you know, rubbing elbows with somebody like yourself. You do your shit your own way, and that's the way you do it, and that's the way you like to do it.
Yeah.
But you don't really care about what other people are doing, right?
No.
I mean, if you compete against somebody and they want to use whatever, then that's their prerogative, and you can probably still whoop their ass anyway.
Well, that's the goal.
Yeah.
You know, you might be on performance enhancers, whatever. Anyone can do whatever. You know, you might lift in knee reps, and I might just be in sleeves. But, you know, at the end of the day, I just want to do my best.
Right.
And set my own PRs, regardless of what it looks like to you.
When did you like be aware of all that? You know, like at least me growing up, you look at Arnold and you look at, you know, like they talk about in the movie, right? They talk about Sly and stuff. You're like, oh, like I want to look like that. Yeah. But little do we know, some of those guys might be using things that other people aren't. Like what age? Because you're still pretty young. How old are you?
22.
Yeah, you're still pretty young. When did you realize, like, all right, well, maybe I am going up against maybe different odds, and I don't care, or maybe I'm going up against different odds. Maybe I will take stuff, or maybe I'll wait till I'm 30, or like when did this whole thought process go?
I think I started thinking about it all and deciding. You know, high school, I never thought about it. It was a subject, but I never really cared or thought about it until out of high school, when actually people started saying, okay, you're on steroids, I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you know, clearly that's an issue with, you know, just people in the fitness community.
Right.
So then I really thought about, you know, should I do it? You know, should I not? And it's just my personal decision.
Yeah, it's a big part of powerlifting, strongman, bodybuilding. You see it, it's kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are people that choose not to do it, and I think what we're seeing is, especially on the IPF level, there's some guys that are lifting more. Like some of the records, I think your 198 total is higher than some of the other guys and even the heavier weight classes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it might be better than the sleeved. It is the best sleeve total ever, regardless of Fed, regardless of drug test or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy. How's your typical training week? Maybe just give us a quick brush of a week, and maybe how that's changed from single ply to raw. Like, what's your style of training?
So
the Norris Method.
Yeah. No, I started, you know, back in high school. I just did 3 lifts a week and 3 days a week. So I did deadlifts one day, bench one day, and squats one day. And then sophomore through junior, senior year, I was doing what was called the Chico program.
Right.
So it was a lot more volume, higher intensity, and you kind of repeated that each
bunch
week.
of days.
Yeah. So I kind of took the gist of the program and modified it to what I prefer to do. So right now I bench heavy and deadlift heavy on Mondays. Tuesdays a front squat and overhead press day. Wednesdays just auxiliaries, just to hit triceps and whatever.
The beach muscles.
Gotta look good.
Gotta get that pump.
Yeah. Thursdays again deficit deads, light bench. Fridays auxiliaries. Saturdays heavy squats, heavy bench. And then Sundays auxiliaries, but it's also an optional day for me. So if I do feel like crap, I can take the day off.
Is it something that you worked on to be jacked, or is it just kind of a byproduct of all your training?
Training, I do focus a little bit on my diet during the week. Well, now, of course, just nutrition-wise, I eat pretty clean during the work week, and then weekends I kind of eat whatever. And also I do a lot of conditioning, higher rep stuff. Right. Like on my auxiliary days, I typically do a lot of prowler, pushing sleds, sprints, stuff like that. And
yeah, you do a little bit of strongman stuff as well?
Yeah. Do some yoke every now and then, tire flips, and a lot of farmer carries is my favorite. So.
You do, you know, mostly just from chatting with you a little bit at bodybuilding.com and here, and then obviously just seeing your Instagram, you do a ridiculous amount of volume. Like you're doing sets of 10 all the way up to 650 or something on the deadlift. A lot of people aren't used to seeing that or doing that. The only person I've heard of training even semi like that is maybe Ed Cohn, who would do maybe singles up to a top set of 10 or something like that, similar. Did you have to work your way up to that? What's your maybe reasoning, or is it just what you like to do, just get a lot of fucking work done?
Well, I worked up to it. Like I didn't always do those kinds of reps. You know, it was a goal like maybe I started at 495, only doing it for sets of 6 to 8, and it's a goal of mine to hit it for 10. And then when I hit it for 10, I could move up to 545 and so on. But as I continue to train like that, I feel that I can adjust to the weights better. My body, the weight doesn't feel as heavy to me when I'm repping it out for 10 to 12, 495. And then I can work up to then, 635 and hit it for a set of 8.
What's your best with 635?
10.
10.
Damn.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
I don't do it every week.
What's crazy though is that's not only what you do in your workout. Like, looking at when you post, you'll post a video and say, oh, well, here's me doing 3 reps with 725 in a deadlift. But I also did this, and there's a lot of stuff before you get to that
500
set.
for 10, 555 for 10, 600 for 8, 650 for 8, and then 725 for 2.
And then there's a lot of stuff after it,
like
too.
drop sets and shit.
So, was that just sort of just you lifting, like, as you started, maybe almost just doing stuff for fun as like a challenge? Like when you're deadlifting, around 600 pounds, were you kind of thinking, well, I am warming up, but let me just kind of see, like, I want to move 315 for like 12 reps, and then you just kind of did it that way, and it's just morphed into kind of your style?
Yeah, I didn't always do it like that till, a few years ago. But the main thing is, for me, is feeling the weight, hitting the reps, and then continuing to add, I'll do 495 for 12. That should feel somewhat light. And then hitting 545 for 10. If something's off that day, I can tell during those few sets before the heavy weight. And I also like to just get lots of work in too. So.
Is there such thing as like a deload or an off week or speed days for you? Is there anything that...
I have my light days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, which I still, hit 500 pounds on the deadlift.
So you're touching 500 pounds pretty much twice a week, year round?
2 or 3 times a week, year round, yeah.
Yeah, you're squatting and deadlifting and benching multiple times a week, and then is there a percentage based on for the lighter day? I mean,
it's not necessarily percentage.
You just kind of go by
based.
plates.
I just go by the number. It used to be just 225 for my light bench days. Now it's 275, just because I like to feel. 225 I feel like just too light.
Right.
So I like to feel a little bit of volume, have a little bit of struggle, but not something that's going to fatigue me.
Yeah, got to be able to recover.
Yeah.
You've won IPF Worlds, right? 2 years in a row as a junior.
Yeah, I won it my junior and senior year, and my senior year I took best overall Wilkes at the sub-junior world competition.
You have multiple world records now.
Yes.
And you compete drug tested. You're heading to USAPL Nationals with the goal of, going to Worlds again. Why do you think you've been somewhat like anonymous in the fitness community?
Yeah, if people talk about the strongest people, who do they say? Eric Lillibridge and Dan Green, and maybe that's because of social media following or whatever.
And a lot of Chev.
Yeah. There's others, but you're sitting in the middle of Idaho. Is that why, or?
I don't think that's necessarily why. I don't really focus on getting attention. I just sit in the gym, I do my own thing. It's hard for me to just be on Instagram. I just never really cared.
Yeah, just not your personality?
Yeah. I'm generally very quiet, private, and keep to myself. So I think that's why. So.
Right, you just like to kind of do your own thing. So it might take a little longer, but I think eventually everyone's going to hear your name with all the shit that you're doing.
Yeah, I would agree.
What do you do for work? I mean, you said you worked for bodybuilding.com. What do you do for them exactly?
Yeah, so I work in customer service, kind of on the back end.
The back end. He does a lot of back end.
I can teach you the back end.
Yeah.
Yeah, so job titles, reship recovery. So I just look at the orders that were, either duplicated or there's a problem with, and just try to get bad items back to the company. Right. And it just kind of helps the company get reimbursed for any products.
So you fix other people's fuck-ups?
Yeah, kind of. Pretty much, yeah. And also I do my online training and a little bit of personal training in my free time. So.
Yeah. When you're doing your personal training stuff, are you trying to have people lift very similar to your style that you've incorporated?
Yeah, I train them same way I would go about things. I look at
people just die when they do it, or what like if I tried it, I think I might die.
His arms would fall off. His heart would probably explode.
In the beginning, it's not quite as hard.
Little baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. You know, start working with some reps, and then you start to progress the weight. Work with heavier weight at the same amount of reps, and just kind of step up.
How far out from a meet do you start touching sets that aren't like 6, 8s, and 10s?
About 4 or 5 weeks.
And then you get into what, 5s, 3s,
5s,
2s, maybe?
3s, 2s, just to get used to.
And you get rid of those higher rep sets, or you still do those in your warm-up?
Sometimes I'll still do them. About 2 or 3 weeks out, I'll start to get rid of them just because I'm working with such heavy weight that, you know, it's hard for my body to recover if I'm trying to squat and deadlift heavy in a week. It's just too much.
What's the best weights that you've hit in the gym, like squat, bench, deadlift wise?
I've never went more than I do at meet. Like meets are my best lifts.
It makes sense to me because you're doing a lift multiple times a week, and then you're doing multiple reps and stuff, and you're basically even if you were to lift fresh and do singles all the way up to your max, you'd still be in a fatigue state because you got to have a lot of accumulation of volume and a lot of accumulation of frequency.
Yeah.
So that's probably why you end up performing a lot better on game day.
Yeah, I just never test my maxes in the gym. I'll hit doubles, and that's usually the highest I go.
And that's part of your plan, part of your goal is to always PR to meet and not in the gym?
Yeah.
Because I think that's a super hot topic, like online or in the powerlifting community, whether you should go into a meet and quote unquote play conservative or like know what you're going to hit at the meet, or that you work so hard in training, now that you've peaked, you're ready to smash bigger weights.
Yeah. I mean, I don't ever want to go to a competition and just do okay. Like mentally, I hate that. Yeah. It really just takes a toll. Like I hit 2015 at my best meet, and then the next meet I only hit 1960 or whatever it was, and that was.
Yeah, where did we see you? LA Fit Expo maybe?
Yeah.
Or where were we?
Yeah, something like that.
LA Fit is the one I went to.
Super bummed. You're like,
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
I train to perform my best at whatever meets I choose to do. So.
Yeah, and you put a lot of time into it, and then you go and do it, and for whatever reason, sometimes it just ain't there.
It just doesn't work out all the time. So. Yeah.
What would you have to say to like some newer guys that are just starting out? What would be some of your advice to them? Some simple things that they can maybe start to incorporate into their training that would make them better.
I think the biggest thing for me is just to listen to your body. You know, if something feels off, there's certain things you can push through, which is good, and then there's certain things that you just need to take a step back.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing for me is like I don't ever want to follow anyone else's program. I do what is best for me and what feels the best for me. So just to really.
How did you come to the conclusion of some of this training? Is it a lot of reading, a lot of watching videos, or is it just you had a coach and then he helped you kind of develop some groundwork for powerlifting, and then you kind of developed your own thing as you went along?
That's really what happened is, my coach in the beginning, the first 4 years of my powerlifting career was there and helped me through the training, the technique, and gave me a couple different programs. But after he was gone and doing his own thing, I just developed what was ultimately what I felt like doing. So, yeah.
And that's mentally what you like doing? Like
mentally,
your style of training?
Yeah, mentally, physically, I enjoy the sets of 10 to 12 just because, I get sweaty and I feel good about it, So
we talk about that a lot, but it's not mentioned a lot in general in powerlifting, is you have to mentally enjoy the style of training you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's probably number one, because then you'll do it, right? Then you'll be
stuck
stuck
to your personality.
Yeah, if you don't enjoy your training, you're not even gonna want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
So, what's
the
point?
Are you, as a world record holder, I would imagine that you're very dedicated to it. But are you like super meticulous with everything that you do? Is the training always happens? You never miss workouts? Are you always getting enough sleep and all those different things?
I try my best to get enough sleep. I try my best to always be in the gym, but it doesn't always happen. Yeah. There's days where I'm just so tired after work that there's no way I could train.
What do you do on a day like that?
I go to sleep.
You go home, go to sleep, rest up.
Yeah.
And do you try to do the work that you were supposed to do the next day, or do you just forget about it and move forward with your program?
If I miss an auxiliary day, I'll usually work it in. But if it's like a day that I'm supposed to hit my deadlifts or bench, I'll just move forward.
Yeah, because it'll kind of offset everything, right? It'll kind of mess up the entire rest of the week.
Yeah, because I have a very set week as far as what I'm supposed to do, but my numbers can vary.
How far ahead do you plan out those numbers? Like you said, you don't really do percentage, but you know you're supposed to do 600 for 6 or whatever. How many weeks ahead do you plan that?
I base it upon the meet I'm going to do.
Okay, so pretty far ahead sometimes.
Yeah, so 12 weeks out, I'll decide this is kind of the pattern I'm going to do, and then 6 weeks before then, I'm going to lay off so much volume and start to hit sets of 5 or 3s or stuff like that. So.
What's kind of the driving force behind all this? Like what's driving you to want to go to nationals and kick some ass, want to go to worlds?
I think the biggest thing for me is just to do my best, but also, show everyone else, whether it's they're just lifting to lift and they're just in the gym doing curls, whatever. I don't care what you do. Just you can be better and you can push yourself a little harder.
Lead by example.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you do a really good job of that. Fires me up.
When it comes to powerlifting, when we talk about reps in here, we're like, oh, I'm going to do reps today.
Yeah.
And we say 3, 4,
5.
maybe 5. And it's really rare for us to do 8 or 6 or 12. Do you just really strongly recommend that a lot of other powerlifters start to try to incorporate at least a little bit of that?
I think that you should. You're going to be
10, 12,
better conditioned.
8, yeah.
For me, if you don't care about how you look, which you should, I think.
Yeah, silent Mike's like that. I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
How fat he is.
If you don't care about how you look, then obviously you don't need the extra reps. But I'd recommend it to anyone just to be in better health.
Yeah, and then also just having better condition,
work
and then
capacity.
the muscle mass. Like you are about 200 pounds, right?
Yeah.
And I always tell people you can create leverage by just getting super fat.
Yeah.
Or you can create leverage by gaining some muscle.
Yeah.
Or even a combination of the two. But the point is, it's like you're going to have to at least be a little bit big in order to move some weight.
Right.
What's next? So you got nationals?
Next? So I got Raw Nationals.
USAPL.
USAPL, yeah. And then I'm going to do the Reebok record breaker 3 weeks later. So, and that's all.
Jesse Burdick's gym, CSA.
Yep. And that's all I got planned for now. So.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And then Worlds, where is Worlds at?
Worlds is going to be in Texas this year, so that was kind of my deciding factor. It's close.
And Nationals, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Worlds, Texas.
Yep.
Anyone talk about drug testing or anything yet? Like as soon as they kind of started getting wind that you're going to do meets and stuff,
I know
somebody knocking on your door.
I know I'm going to be drug tested, so I'm not worried about it.
There you go. Well, that's Jesse Norris, and that's it from the strongest gym in the West, Super Training Gym.
Peace.
Later.
Good job,
Good shit,
man.
Sweet.
That's easy. Those heavy ass pounds are different than regular ass pounds.